Hello, Raghunath sir.
Yes, Priyanka.
Shall we start now?
Now time is 6:30. Okay, then we can start, no problem. Students will join.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. So we are going to start our webinar on fundamentals of consumerism. First of all, I'm extending gratitude to Dr. Raghunathan sir, who is our principal, for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And this is organized as part of the IQAC of Srinarayana Law College, Putota. We are having our resource person, Advocate M.R. Nandakumar, Advocate High Court of Kerala, and he had served for several tenures as the Secretary of Kerala High Court Bar Association and is a good teacher also. Is continuously taking classes also and is an eminent lawyer at High Court of Kerala. Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
Welcome, Raghunath, sir. Now I am extending gratitude to our management, then the coordinator of this webinar, Nandakumar, sir, the student coordinator, Vishaga and Siddharth, and all the participants. A warm welcome to all. So the webinar is on fundamentals of consumerism, and consumerism is the protection and promotion of interests of the consumers. Consumers are those who are receiving goods or services from the providers on demand, and of course they are restored with certain rights and liabilities. Our resource person, Advocate M.R. Nandakumar, will be giving an idea on the fundamentals of consumerism. Welcome, sir. Welcome to the webinar.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening to all. Now, our principal, Sri Raghunath sir, assistant professor, Srimati Priyanka, dear students. Now, today is observed. May I audible?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Today is observed as the World Consumer Rights Day because now March 15th is observed as the World Consumer Rights Day in whole world, and December 24th is our National Consumer Rights Day in India because Consumer Protection Act 1986 was enacted in the year 1986, and the bill assented by the President on 24th December 1986. Therefore, in India, Consumer Rights Day is observed on 24th December as our Consumer Rights Day in India. Now, in consumer, as all of us know, that the consumer is the king in our country or all the world. The consumer is considered to be as the king because all of us will go for a shopping. We will purchase different items of goods supplied by the distributors. All of us are paying money for them. Then who are the consumers under the Consumer Protection Act? The Consumer Protection Act came into force, as I stated earlier, in the year 1986, and it has been amended in the year. Drastic amendments were incorporated in the year 2001, 2005, and most drastic change was introduced in the last year, 2019, August 9th. The Consumer Protection Act has been drastically changed, and the designation of the forum has been changed to uniformity, as presently the consumer forums were known as the District Consumer Commission, State Consumer Commission, and National Commission of the Consumer. There are, all of us know, there are 3 R's. Normally, we will say that 3 R's. One is, if a product we purchase from a distributor or from a shop, then suppose the goods were found defective, then what will be our remedy? We will have to, first of all, every consumer should understand that the bill for the item, we will have to keep the bill. Every consumer should well aware of the fact that the consumer will have to keep the bill of the item purchased. If there is no bill, we cannot prove that we are a consumer for a particular item of goods. Then if we are having bill only, then we will have to claim our rights. Then what are the remedy just available? We will have to elaborately discuss in later. There are 3 R's normally. First is replace the goods we purchase. If some of the goods were defective, or if there is any deficiency in service, then that has to be replaced. Then return the money paid by us. Then repair the goods. These are the 3 R's in consumer law. We will often quoted saying that there are 3 R's in consumer law. Then let us see that suppose a person who purchases goods from a shop, there are he can be called as a consumer. Then otherwise, he avail a service. Suppose a person who avail, not purchasing any goods, but he availing a service, he can also be called as a consumer. Then availing service, suppose we are hiring air tickets for a flight to Bombay or Delhi, as the case may be, then flight ticket will have to be, and for the price for the flight ticket, we are availing a service for the journey. That is that also a service rent. Apart from the goods or item purchased by the person, we are availing service also for the item purchase. Then apart from that, there are certain things which have to be considered. What are the basic rights of a consumer? Let us see what are the basic rights of that. Right to safety, first thing. Earlier, the cigarettes, whether it is a good item or alcohol, there was mentioned a cigarette is injurious to health. Then alcohol is injurious to health. If a person who purchased and if he has suffered some lungs problem or some liver problem, then can he claim a compensation against a particular company? Because in that it is specifically mentioned that it is injurious to health. That has been mentioned, the particular cigarette company or in the alcohol company. That is first right of the consumer, is right to safety. Then right to be informed of the quality of the goods we purchasing or the service we are availing from a particular company. Then right to choose a product. You have several products, particular brand, different brands. The consumer has a right to choose. Then right to be heard by a consumer. The consumer has to right to which item, what are the items to be purchased. That is then right to be know the redressal of his grievance. The consumer has to know how he can cure his right or cure his remedy. Then right to be assured of his product purchase. These are the main right of a consumer in the Consumer Protection Act as well as various consumer forums. Earlier there was no such consumer protection, or there was no such law was prevailing. All of you know the famous case in tort that evolved the basic law of trial, Donoghue versus Stevenson. The famous case all of you know in tort case. That is the basic law of the Consumer Protection Act. Then another thing which you have to be noted is how we can redress our grievance. There are 3-fold stages to cure or remedy. We have to remedy. If you purchase a goods up to 1 crore, value of the goods is 1 crore, we can approach district commission as the case maybe for redressal of our grievance. Then district forum, in every district there will be a district commission consisting of president and 2 members. President, who is qualified to be appointed as a district judge, and 2 other members. One of members shall be a woman who has eminent knowledge in the society, etc. These are our consumer affairs field. Both of members should have knowledge in the consumer affairs. Up to the product value of the product or the service we are availing, the value extend up to 1 crore, we can approach district commission. In state commission, if any person aggrieved by the order of district commission or the value of goods exceed 1 crore and up to 10 crore, we can approach state commission for redressal of our grievance. Then the value of the product or any goods is exceed 10 crore, we can, or any order of the state commission, we can file appeal or we can approach the national commission of the Delhi. The national commission consisting of a person, national commission president, and 4 other members. The qualification for the post of national commission is a person to be qualified as a Supreme Court judge, or and the age limit prescribed, the president is 70 years and the members are 67 years. Then next, then recent amendment were brought in the 2019 amendment. Now the law existing as on today is the amendment of 2019. As per the amendment, the misleading advertisement were published or were advertised, and suppose a person who cinema actress who is showing her hair very and showing that the particular oil is to be used, the hair will be grow like her. This is a misleading advertisement and happen to be so misleading. The actress will also be come under the purview of the Consumer Protection Act, and she also be liable for compensation for the aggrieved person, or she also will be liable for the punishment. Suppose in the same day, if there is a baldness in a head and the person who advertised that the particular oil is used, his baldness will be removed or baldness will cure, and the person who purchased oil from the particular company and see that no baldness is cured, the person who stood as for advertisement will also liable for punishment of that advertisement. That is a misleading advertisement. In such case, so many instances, in 2 cinema actors in Thrissur district were recently be fined for the such an act, misleading advertisement. That is a drastic change. Then Central Consumer Protection Authority, CCPA, is another authority constituted under the Consumer Protection Act in the year 2019. By the virtue of that amendment, Central Consumer Protection Authority has been constituted at the official level, and if any complaint is received with regard to a particular product, the Consumer Protection Authority can direct to withdraw that product from our particular area, or that product can be withdrawn from the distribution. In other ways, the products can be banned for distribution. This wide powers are given to the consumer CCPA, otherwise Central Consumer Protection Authority. This is a drastic change incorporated and the new amended Consumer Protection Act. Then another thing is, every consumer protection district commission and state commission, there is a mediation centers were constituted. Mediation center was constituted at every district commission level as well as at the state commission level, and at national commission level also constituted by mediation center by the central government. Therefore, if a person file a complaint And complaint first, the consumer district commission or the state commission, as the case may be, referred for mediation if there is a possibility of settlement, and every case usually be referred after this amendment, because this, due to the pandemic corona, our mediation and log adalats are in slow done in a slow manner. Therefore no such mediation center is effectively functioning in India after the amendment, because the amendment is introduced in the year very recently, because of the COVID pandemic. The mediation centers are not functioning as intended. Then if a person file a complaint before the Consumer Commission and the commission is not taking any steps, you believe that, and after 21 days, if no, either it has to be rejected by the commission or it has to be accepted. If not rejected, it is considered as a deemed admission of that commission, that complaint filed by the complainant. It is considered to be a very drastic change, because after 21 days of the filing of complaint, if there is no response from the part of the commission, either admitting or rejecting the complaint, it is considered as the deemed admission of the complaint. The Consumer Commission or the State Commission or the National Commission, as the case may be. Then let us see, we have seen that the consumers, who are the consumers, and what are they then, where the jurisdiction of the consumer court lie. Jurisdiction in every district. If suppose a product is purchased from Ernakulam district, then whether a person who purchased product from Ernakulam district, can he file a complaint before the Consumer Commission at Kottayam district? No, he can file Consumer Commission at Ernakulam district. Suppose one of the opposite, the jurisdiction, where the complainant resides has the jurisdiction, he can file either. If suppose a person is residing at Kottayam, he can file complaint either at Kottayam, or the cause of action happened in Ernakulam, he can file Ernakulam. Then one of the opposite party is residing in Kottayam, he can file either at Ernakulam or at Kottayam. Then cause of action, if the product is purchased from Ernakulam, he can file Ernakulam. If one opposite party is residing at Kottayam and if another party is residing at Kollam, he can file either at Kollam, Kottayam or Ernakulam, as the case may be, at his own interest. These are the very important factors to be considered while filing a complaint before the commission. Then who are the complaints? Then let us see. The person who purchased a product is a consumer, then he is a complainant. Then a person who availed a service, or he has some deficiency in availing service, he can be called as a consumer. Then a company can file a complaint. Then state government or central government, as the case may be, file complaint. Then Consumer Protection Council can file a complaint. Then consumers, association of consumers, one or two consumers who associated can file a consumer complaint before the district or state commission or national commission, as the case may be, for redressing his or her grievance. Then another factor is to be considered. Complaint has been defined under section 2. Allegation in writing. Complaint means an allegation in writing made by the complainant before the Consumer Commission can be called as a complaint. Then complaint is with regard to unfair trade practice. There are three certain categories. Unfair, what is meant by unfair trade practice? The excessive security deposit is demanding for a product, or a improper penalty has been fixed by for a product. Suppose a product is not purchased in time, a heavy penalty has been imposed. Then supply, delay in supply of goods is a unfair trade practice. Delay, suppose a goods promised to be delivered in a particular time, but the goods are not delivered within a time. It is inordinate delay in Then another kind of complaint, reason for complaint is restrictive trade practice. Delay beyond the period. The period has been prescribed in consumer supply of goods, but the goods has not been delivered within time. And if there is any part payment has been agreed between the parties, and only remaining part is has not, and the goods delayed in delivering the goods due to the delayed payment. These are the unfair trade practices or unfair contract and restrictive trade practices. Then what are the limitation period prescribed for the consumer protection? Suppose a person who buys a goods and happen to be defective, then he has to file complaint within 2 years from the date of purchase of goods. If he purchased goods, if he filed a complaint after 2 years, we can call it as it is barred by limitation. All of you know what is meant by limitation, because a party agreed by any act can be filed a particular period. For suppose civil suit, all of you know that has to be most of recovery of money. It has to be filed within 3 years from the date of agreement or any return of money as the case. In consumer protection law, a cause of action, from the date of cause of action, the complaint has to be filed within 2 years. If there is any delay occurred in filing complaint, this complaint has, the commission has the power to condone the delay on sufficient grounds. If there is any sufficient ground for condoning the delay, the consumer commission or district commission or the state commission can entertain complaint after the prescribed period of 2 years in the Consumer Protection Act. Then we are, as I stated, if any person agreed by the order of district commission can file appeal or challenging the order of the district commission before the state commission. Then the time limit prescribed for filing appeal is 45 days from the district commission to state commission. And if any person agreed by the order of state commission can file appeal or challenging the order of state commission can file it before the national commission within 30 days from the date of the order. That is the amended law. Then how the orders of the consumer commission can be enforced, because all of us see, suppose a consumer forum has passed directing the opposite party to pay compensation of rupees 1 lakh. Then if the party failed to pay the compensation, then what is the remedy available to the aggrieved person or the complainant? Then complainant can file execution petition before the consumer the district commission or the state commission or the national commission, as the case may be, for redressing his grievance. And even then the aggrieved party failed to pay the compensation, and that execution can be in the same manner as envisaged under Code of Civil Procedure, Order 21. Rule 10 pragaramana all of us filing execution petition before the civil court for enforcement of a decree in a civil case. The same manner we can file execution petition before the district or state or national commission, as the case may be, for the enforcement of orders of the commission. Then if any person failed to pay the compensation, he will be sentenced to imprisonment 3 years to up to 3 years, from 3 months to maximum of 3 years, and to direct him to pay compensation of rupees 25,000. That is the penalty imposed in the Consumer Protection Act. If any person aggrieved, or if any person aggrieved by the inaction on the part of the respondent not complying the order of the Consumer Commission, District Commission, or the State Commission, or the National Commission, he can file execution petition before the for the enforcement of the order, as in the case of civil suit under Order 21 CPC. The same manner we can file execution petition before the commission for the enforcement of order. And if any person failed to pay the compensation or the order of the commission, he will be sentenced to imprisonment up to 3 years, and order to pay compensation of rupees 25,000. Then with regard to the enforcement of the order, we have seen that the Consumer Protection Act can be enforced through, as in the case of civil decree, Order 21 in CPC. The same way we can enforce the order of consumer protection also. For that, we will have to file an execution petition. After we obtaining a decree, the opposite party will not usually comply the order of consumer commission or state commission or national commission. Then we have to enforce the order by filing execution petition, and also to enforce the order by the, even then he is not complying the order, the commission can enforce its order by imposing penalty of rupees 25,000 and also imprisonment not less than 3 months and up to maximum 3 years. These are the main features of the Consumer Protection Act. Then apart from that, there are some powers also envisaged to central consumer protection authorities, because they can recall a product, or if I suppose a person file a complaint against a particular product, the Central Consumer Protection Authority can recall that product from the society. Then Central Consumer Protection Authority can direct the party to pay, reimburse the value of the goods purchased by the consumer, and also discontinuation, direct him to discontinuation of the business being rendered by the particular service provider or a particular distributor. From these are the salient features. Then powers of the district collector also. Suppose a district collector also has, these are the recent amendment incorporated the Central Consumer Protection Authority and the district collector. Suppose a person makes a with regard to a particular product, then the district collector, we can approach the district collector for the stoppage of that particular business in the from the particular locality, because the product is not consumable or that is not good for health of the human being. Then we can approach these are the powers given under the Central Consumer Protection Authority. And if any person agreed with regard to these are the wide powers given to the Central Consumer Protection Authority, and the Consumer Protection Authority has to, this particular product can be recalled, then particular product can be prohibited from particular locality, and a particular direct the company or the manufacturer or the distributor to pay reimburse the value of the goods, etc. These are then apart from, we can see that the mediation, alternate dispute redressal forum or a mediation cell has to be constituted at every commission at a district level, state level, as well as national level. For that is a very wide amendment has been given as per the 2019 amendment, by which amendment every consumer commission center or at state level commission center and national levels commission center, a mediation forum or mediation center will have to be a panel of mediators will have to be constituted, and a complaint has been filed before the consumer forum, it will have to be referred for a mediation. After serving notice to the opposite party, the complaint has to be referred for mediation. That will have to be done by this district commission, state commission, as well as national commission for the proper adjudication, or the case will have to be amicably be settled. And for the purpose, the act envisages that every consumer disputes has to be completed with 90 days, within 90 days from the date of receipt of the complaint. The first notice will have to be given to the opposite party within 21 days of the receipt of the complaint, and opportunity will have to be given to the opposite parties to file their version. Thereafter, completing entire proceedings will have to be completed within 90 days. That is the envisaged in act, but it is in our practical side, we all of us know that no consumer dispute will be completed within 90 days, because almost all in several forums, for several commissions, complaints are being flooded, and no consumer dispute could be resolved within 90 days because of the number of complaints are being increased day by day. As I stated, that appeal will have to be filed. Then a person agreed by the order of district commission has to be filed appeal before the state commission within 45 days, and a person agreed by the order of state commission will have to be filed a complaint before the national commission within 45, so within 30 days of the order of from the date of receipt of the copy of the order of state commission. And all of us know that we are living in a consumer society, and there are many types of selling are being carried out. All of us know direct selling, then multi-level market selling, then online selling, etc., etc. These are different. All of us can approach if there is any defect in our goods or service. We can very well approach the consumer commissions envisaged under this act. But one thing will have to be remembered, that the bill or receipt or the has to be kept by each consumer. Then only we can prove that we are a consumer of that particular product. Otherwise, we cannot claim our right. Consumer Protection Act has been enacted. Earlier, the tort law where the person is claimed for his grievance any defect in goods, he has to approach, or any deficiency in service, he will have to be approached by way of filing civil suit. Now, after the amendment of the introduction of the Consumer Protection Act in the year 1986, we can very well approach the Consumer Protection Forum. Then one thing will have to be remembered, that the goods are purchased for commercial purpose, because a person who purchases goods bulk, particular items purchasing in a bulk, then whether he can be called as a consumer, then he cannot be called as a consumer, because he can be considered as a commerce. It can be considered as a commercial transaction. If a person purchases a product or a single product, he can be called as and he made a bulk purchase and sell goods in to different person, he cannot be called as a consumer. He can be, that transaction can be called as a commercial transaction, and therefore he will not come under the definition of a consumer. If anybody has got any doubt with regard to the act, can
Hello, participants. If you are having any doubt, you can clarify it regarding Consumer Protection Act or consumerism. You can directly ask to our resource person. Nobody is having any doubts.
Hello.
Nobody is having any doubts, I think.
Yeah. And then we can continue some more time also. Then Consumer Protection Authority is the central authority, as I stated earlier, that has been constituted by the amendment of 2019. The aim of the Consumer Protection Authority is to promote, protect, and enforce the rights of consumer. Today we are celebrating a Consumer Rights Day, our National World Consumer Rights Day, and our recent amendment, Central Consumer Protection Authority, has been constituted. The main aim of the EPA, before approaching the Consumer Protection Forum, or if we feel that if any product is circulated in the society is not up to not a good product, or it is some not consumable items are being supplied or being distributed among the society, we can very well approach the Central Consumer Protection Authority. That is one of the drastic changes incorporated under the Consumer Protection Act. Then the authority can initiate action, including enforcing, as I stated, recalling, refund, and return the goods to the distributor or the manufacturer, as the case may be. The very wide power has been given to the Central Consumer Protection Authority under the Consumer Protection Act, New Amendment Act in the year 2019. There are other features also, as I stated, that every case has to be referred for a mediation. That is, then misleading advertisement, that is also one of the drastic changes incorporated. The earlier amendments were, this is a very the person who stood for advertisement will also be come under the purview of the Consumer Protection Act. He will also be liable for the punishment, if any, imposed by the consumer under the commission before the consumer for commission and included in the Consumer Protection Act. But if any person who stood for advertisement and there is no effective cure as advertised in the media, the aggrieved person can very well approach the Consumer Protection Forum for the misleading advertisement. That is one, and we can very well claim compensation from the particular actor also for stood such misleading advertisement. That is one of the very changes incorporated in the earlier. There was no, suppose a person who has very thick hair stood for an advertisement of a particular oil company, hair oil, and the person who uses the hair oil does not get any result, then he can very well approach the company as well as a particular actress for the compensation, for claiming compensation from the actress or company as well as the actors also for misleading advertisement. These are the drastic changes incorporated under anyway. The Consumer Protection Law is a very growing among our society, and some people are even reluctant to approach consumer commissions for redressing their grievance because of the some delay mechanism in the Consumer Commission. But that has been also be redressed by the amendment. But even due to the COVID pandemic, we could not, or the commission could not function very properly. Therefore, some delay maybe. We thought that, we are thinking that the commission can very well function after the pandemic period is over, and most of the complaint could be cured within 90 days as envisaged under the amended clauses, and most of the consumers will get their redressal, their grievance redressed, etc. are the silent features of the new amendment. And as stated earlier, consumer, we all of us know the consumer is the king in the society, and if any any of his rights is infringed, he can very well approach the consumer redressal commissions for enforcement of his grievances. These are the main features to be remembered. The World Consumer Protection, World Consumer Rights Day, and let us hope for a new India, and the consumers will get their redressal grievance redressed with the amendment of the 2019. Let us hope for that. Thank you to all.
എന്തെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ചോദിക്കാം. ഹലോ, ആർക്കെങ്കിലും ഡൗട്ട് ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ സാറിനോട് നേരിട്ട് ചോദിക്കാം.
Nobody has got doubt.
Students, why you are reluctant to ask doubts? Clear your doubts. Nobody has.
Hello?
I am asking a question to the students, to the participants. Suppose you purchased an article, an item from the shop and gifted the same to your friend. Who is the consumer? Can you answer? Any of the participants, please? Who is the consumer? Nobody knows.
So one who bought the product.
Only he can. You use your brain. Actually, the Consumer Protection Act, that is considered
the person who uses.
Yes, this act is considered as the fertile land.
One who consumes it.
You ask your doubts. He's our chief guest, that our resource person expert in this field. You clarify all your doubt. This is a webinar. The intention of the webinar is interaction. That is the main thing. Generally, you will get informations, ideas. You ask your doubts. Adilya, do you have any? I think you have some doubt. You can start as a consumer advocate also, because you know this. Most of all persons, including a child or any person, that means no. Every time we are purchasing a lot of things. So all of us are consumers in one sense or in another sense. So there are a lot of problems you are facing in day-to-day life. So this act is the most important act with respect to your actions or your purchase that you are doing every day. So I think you are well aware about these portions of the act. Nobody else. You say, you ask your doubts. Cicely, what is your answer with respect to my question?
Yeah, the person who consumes.
What about the purchaser?
Purchaser, the person who consumes is a consumer.
Okay. Okay. Okay, sir, you continue, please.
Then this is the new area where the most of the persons are not aware of their rights. because the consumers are not, that is the one of the reason for the products are being, even we can approach before the forum for their quality, quantity, etc. If the suppose the weight of the product is very less, as shown in the cover, then that is a deficiency in service. Suppose a person who engaged as some contractor for repairing his house, we are availing a service from that particular person. One thing, we purchase a product, we are a consumer, then we are availing a service from another. If there is any deficiency in service, suppose for example, we go to hospital for any treatment. Private hospital we are going to, government hospital as said that this will not be a free service, therefore will not come under the definition of consumer. But that is with regard to, there is some disputes are pending. In private hospital, we are going to private hospital and we get a treatment from there. Then if there is any deficiency, we can very well approach for the service, deficiency of service from there. These are the service and we are availing a service, we are a consumer. Then suppose a person who purchases goods from, that is and if a person engages another person for repairing his vehicle or any repair his house or anything, he also availing. Suppose a person who purchases a ticket from a travel agency for his marriage of his daughter, and suppose recently one person who took petrol from the petrol pump, and happened that some water is included in the diesel, and the vehicle ran for some time, and due to suddenly it stopped due to the water content in the petrol. Then the quantity, suppose the foreign material, that is only we are expecting that oil, diesel or petrol as the case, that would be 100%. And if 13% or 1% of water is included in the petrol or diesel, there is a deficiency of service, because we are in rainy season, it is happening usually, and the petrol bunk owner as well as we have to make them, the distributor also will be the party array, and the the petrol bank owner will be liable for the loss sustained by the particular consumer of or the owner of the car. These are the day-to-day things happening in our society. If suppose a person who is ignorant, that maybe due to some, or we are neglecting our right, this kind of attitude will be increased in the society. Therefore, we let the buyer beware. That is one of the famous, or the buyer beware. Therefore, the person who purchase a service, the person who, we are usually not receiving any bill from the petrol bank after filling oil in our vehicle, but we will have to buy, or you'll have to pay either through account pay or Google Pay, etc. Payment will be given. That will be an evidence. Otherwise, if suppose a person paying cash from his pocket and not receiving the bill from particular company, how can we enforce our right? Therefore, the buyer will have to be aware of his right. The first thing we have to understand, suppose a person who, after you become a lawyer, after completion of course, you will become a lawyer of the, and suppose a person approach you, I purchase such and such goods from, no bill. Can you get any relief for him? No, he cannot get any relief for him, because the first thing you will have to be keep in mind is that the person, in order to prove that a particular person is a consumer, he will have to show bill or receipt as the case may be. If a person does not have the bill or receipt, how can he prove that he has purchased a particular product or he has availed a particular service? How can he prove? Therefore, this is a famous saying that let the buyer beware. That is a principle in the consumer law. Therefore, the buyer will have to be aware of his rights. Then only he can approach the appropriate forum for enforcement of his grievance. If he does not bothered about the things happening, then how can he enforce? He cannot enforce. Therefore, first thing, we have to prove that I am a consumer of the particular service or a particular product. Therefore, we'll have to keep that bill or the receipt as the case may be. Then another thing, suppose we are traveling in a bus. Suppose there is no bus ticket with me, with the consumer. Then how can he prove that he was traveling in a particular bus, etc.? Therefore, in order to prove that he is a consumer, that at least some awareness should be among the consumer. Then only he can enforce his right. Therefore, the purpose of the World Consumer Rights Day is to keep an awareness among the people. This is the main important. The important purpose of the day is to protect and interest of consumer and keep awareness among the consumers, and spread awareness among the society. The theme of the year, the 2021 March 15th, the theme is considered World Consumer Right Day. The theme of this year is tackling plastic pollution. Then all of us know that plastic pollution is rampant in our society. Our seas are flooded with the plastics. Our seas, river, etc., are flooded, and all places, all of us know that wastes are being dumped, especially plastic wastes are being dumped. Therefore, this year, the theme of this year is World Consumer Protection Rights Day is for the tackling of plastic pollution, and therefore, in order to curb the menace of plastic pollution, all of us will have to be fight together against this menace, and then only we can eliminate this plastic pollution from our society, and we can have a better atmosphere as it was prevalent in before past several years. Let us have a better, free, unpolluted environment. Let us hope for that. And I conclude my class with this observation. Thank you to all.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for sparing your valuable time. Thank you for your informative webinar. And I request Nandakumar sir for giving a vote of thanks.
Before giving vote of thanks, shall I ask one question? What is can you say something about the strength and weakness of this act relating to online purchasing?
Yes. Pardon?
The strength and weakness of this act relating to online purchasing.
Online purchasing, there is no definite rules as on to. Some guidelines are issued by the central government, by which the online business are being or marketing or direct marketings are being carried out in our society. But for that, we will have to purchase. We will have to keep our bill for the purchase from the purchasers. That is only made because our product are being supplied through the Amazon, therefore, or Flipkart, etc. We have to identify exact manufacturer. Then only we can file complaint against the particular company. Online marketing, some only guidelines are all by the central government. Guidelines are only prevailing with regard to the direct marketing, etc. And there is no such rules in Kerala. First thing, we purchase from an approved company. That is only. You have to make manufacturer as a party, right, for filing a complaint before. Apart from the distributor, you have to make the manufacturer also as a party. Then only we can succeed in our case. Otherwise, we will lose.
Thank you, sir. I think no other questions. Next is out of time. Yes, Adhikar Nandakumar sir, our principal Dr. Raghunath sir, faculty members, students, and other participants. Today, we are actually blessed with a scholarly lecture about fundamentals of consumerism as part of the World Consumer Rights Day celebration. This opportunity to express our sincere gratitude to Adhikar Nandakumar sir for his valuable presence and informative words.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our principal, Dr. Raghunath. Actually, Raghunath sir is really acting as a catalyst to improve or inspire the faculty members as well as the students. Our principal is actually behind almost all the extracurricular activities like this. That is thanks to her Raghunath and that about her management. Her management is giving all support to conduct this type of special activities relating to our day-to-day activities or this institution. Last but not the least, I extend my sincere thanks to all the participants of the meeting, including faculty members, students, and others. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, participants, you will be getting your certificates within 2-3 days. The link for filling the Google form will be sent within 2-3 days.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you, Nandakumar sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Raghunath sir. Thank you, all participants.
Okay,
Thank you, guys. Okay, so by that we are winding up our session.
all the participants are requested
you,
to join the poster competition conducted by the NSS and Eco Club of our college. Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.